Hi, welcome to the BULLWARK Studio. Antonio here. This is our first episode of monthly updates on the Herbmaster development progress. So, using Git and GitHub, we have two different branches. The main branch that we use for the tutorial series and the develop branch, where new features are added and tested until they're good enough to be added in the main branch and used for our tutorials. So, what we're going to show you today are three new features that we developed and that we want to show you in experimental stages so that we can explain them later in the tutorials. Let's dive in. The first difference that can be spotted at first glance between the last tutorial and this update is the character that is used during play, which is not a spectator-like pawn, but a walking human with a body. To have this result, what we did is make some adaptation to the third-person character that is pre-made by Epic Games. By default, the third-person character has its skeletal mesh and a camera attached to it through a spring arm, which acts as a rig. Instead, we attach the camera directly to the mesh, using the head bone so that they are always bound to each other. This is noticeable especially when considering that the skeletal mesh has a base animation of breathing, so the head moves with the breathing animation and the camera follows it, so it's barely noticeable, but you can see this subtle movement of the camera, which is the skeletal mesh in its breathing animation moving the camera continuously. Now, for our second feature, what we have here is a small sphere that, with a little bit of imagination, one could see as a rock. And what we implemented actually is an interaction system. And before I can show you that, I want to show you what looking at something that is quote-unquote interactable does. So if I get close to the sphere and I look at it with the white dot, you can see in the bottom right corner a graphic user interface. So this is actually the interaction UI that shows what action can be done with an actor, its name, and if those actions are possible or not, the key, all the information are going to be shown here about what we are looking at. And this is done through a series of functions that, when I look at the object, pass a reference with all the information that are to be shown on screen to my character. The character then gives it to the UI, and the UI processes it so that they can show information that are coherent with what they received. If, for example, I had a full inventory, the collect key with E would be faded about the 30%. It would be a little bit transparent, and that would indicate that the action is not possible. Furthermore, if the actor had additional information, there will be between the name and the keys another text box with the information that need to be shown. For example, if we have a bottle with something contained in it, like a liquid, the name would be bottle, but in the additional information would be the liquid and even the quantity of that liquid. Lastly, as third feature, what we want to show you is exactly what interacting with an item does. So really, it depends on the item, because, for example, this rock actor is a subclass, so it inherits all the functionalities of what I called an addable master actor. So it has all the basic functionalities to be collected and added to an inventory, collected and taken into the hand of the character. So basically, if I click the E key looking at the rock actor, it will just disappear, and in the internal functionalities of the addable master actor, it will add itself as an item to my inventory. While if I click the R key, it will be taken into the end of the character. So for now, I will show you that the E key will just make disappear the actor, and in the underlying functions it will add it to my inventory. So these are the three features that we are actually able to show you right now in this first monthly update on the Herbmaster development progress. So to summarize, the third person character adaptations to have a first person character with a body that can walk, and all the functions to look and have informations on actors in the world, and interactions with those actors, for example with the collections of actors placed in the world. So this is what we will show you for this monthly update, and the next episode will be on the 18th of October, if I'm not mistaken. By the end of September, start of October, we are looking into the next tutorial episode of the Master project. We will let you know more in the next weeks. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.